In the quiet corners of everyday life, sometimes faith takes a dark turn, leading to actions that defy understanding. Today, we're exploring the unsettling intersection where religious beliefs spiral into extreme acts of violence. This journey isn't just about crime. It's a deep dive into the psyche of those who committed unthinkable acts under the banner of their faith. From divine delusions to fatal interpretations, we'll uncover how a distorted faith can lead to catastrophic outcomes. Join us as we delve into these dark tales of devotion gone terribly wrong. In 2004, Texas mother Dina Schlosser shocked the world with a gruesome act against her own daughter. Dina Schlosser resided in Plano, Texas with her husband and children. She was a devoted member of the Water of Life Church, a congregation that embraced particularly fervent interpretations of Christian doctrine. The church's intense focus on apocalyptic prophecies and spiritual warfare profoundly influenced Schlosser. Her mental health began to spiral following the birth of her third daughter. Diagnosed with postpartum psychosis, Schlosser experienced severe hallucinations and delusions. These mental health challenges were exacerbated by the extreme religious ideas she was exposed to, which began to warp her perception of reality. The tragic day unfolded when Schlosser, believing she was carrying out a divine command, committed an unthinkable act. She severed the arms of her 11-month-old daughter Margaret, who succumbed to her injuries. When authorities arrived, they found Schlosser covered in blood, calmly stating that she had sent her daughter to heaven to be with God. The community and the nation were left in shock and disbelief. Media outlets and public discourse buzzed with discussions on the dangerous intersections of severe mental illness and extreme religious beliefs. Schlosser was found not guilty by reason of insanity and was committed to a state mental hospital. The aftermath of this horrifying event sparked a broader dialogue about the responsibilities of religious communities and the mental health system. Questions were raised about the role of the church's teachings in exacerbating her psychotic symptoms and whether enough had been done to intervene before the tragedy occurred. Dina Schlosser was later released and rehospitalized several times, reflecting ongoing struggles with her mental health. Her story is a chilling testament to the devastating impact of combining untreated mental illness with extremist religious fervor. Dina Schlosser's story is a harrowing reminder of how dangerously twisted religious fervor can become. Imagine believing you've been chosen by God to commit murder. Today, we delve into the disturbing story of Ron Lafferty, a man whose extreme religious beliefs led him down a dark and deadly path. Lafferty, once a member of a mainstream religious community, began to adopt more radical views after personal and financial setbacks shook his world. He claimed to have received revelations directly from God, commanding him to cleanse the earth of evil, starting with his own family. Ron Lafferty's descent into fanaticism became increasingly apparent through his writings and preachings. He penned what he called the removal revelation, a supposed divine message that singled out specific individuals who were obstacles to his spiritual mission. Tragically, this list included his own sister-in-law Brenda and her 15-month-old daughter Erica. The gruesome reality of Lafferty's prophecy came to fruition on a chilling day in 1984. Armed with a lethal conviction, Ron, aided by his brother Dan, brutally took the lives of Brenda and young Erica. Brenda was outspoken against Ron's radical beliefs, which, in Ron's twisted view, justified her fate under his divine directive. The trial that followed was a spectacle that captured national attention, not only for the heinous nature of the crime, but also for the way Ron Lafferty framed his defense. He maintained that he was carrying out the will of God, challenging the very foundations of legal and moral judgment. The courtroom became a battleground for debates on religious freedom versus criminal sanity. Ron Lafferty's actions and his subsequent justification under the guise of divine command bring us to a broader, more unsettling discussion. His case highlights the dangerous potential of religious extremism when mixed with personal vendettas and psychological instability. It forces legal systems and societies to reevaluate where the lines are drawn between belief and law, prophecy and protection. Ron Lafferty's case forces us to confront the terrifying intersection of prophecy and violence, when divine signs lead not to salvation, but to the darkest depths of despair. Deanna Laney, a mother from Texas, found herself entangled in a web of extreme religious convictions that would lead to a chilling outcome. Living a life marked by devout faith, Laney believed she was receiving signs from God, signs that would ultimately direct her to a horrifying act. Laney interpreted everyday occurrences as divine messages, weaving them into a narrative that convinced her she was chosen for a biblical test. This dangerous misinterpretation reached its tragic climax one night in 2004, when Laney attacked her own children with stones, believing it to be a God-ordained act. The community was left reeling as the details of the case emerged, painting a stark picture of faith distorted into violence. The subsequent trial was a battleground of psychological analysis and theological debate. Laney's defense centered on claims of insanity, driven by her religious delusions. Expert witnesses discussed how deeply held beliefs could warp into psychotic episodes, making it difficult to discern divine inspiration from dangerous madness. The jury, faced with the daunting task of untangling faith from mental illness, ultimately found Laney not guilty by reason of insanity. This case brings to light the profound challenges faced when religious fervor intersects with mental health issues. Deanna Laney's tragedy is a stark example of the lethal potential of misinterpreted divine messages. Faith in divine healing over medical care can sometimes come at the highest cost. Meet Travis and Sarah Mitchell, fervent members of the Followers of Christ Church, an organization steeped in the practice of faith healing. In their community, prayer and spiritual rituals stand in place of modern medical intervention, a belief that led to a heart-wrenching tragedy. The Mitchells welcomed twins into their family, but joy quickly turned to despair. Born prematurely, the twins required immediate medical attention, yet adhering to their faith, Travis and Sarah chose prayer over a hospital visit. Tragically, this decision cost the lives of their newborns, who succumbed to conditions that were treatable under medical care. The aftermath sparked a fiery debate and legal battle. The Mitchells faced charges of manslaughter, stirring a nationwide discussion on the boundaries of religious freedom and the protection of children's rights. Their case brought to the forefront the precarious balancing act between respecting religious beliefs and ensuring child welfare. Legal experts and child advocates argued fervently that faith should not exempt individuals from the duty of care owed to minors, a sentiment echoed in the court's ruling. The Mitchells' conviction served as a somber reminder and possibly a deterrent to others in similar faith-based communities. The Mitchells' story is a painful illustration of the life and death stakes of placing faith above science. What happens when a mind breaks and divine voices fill the void? Today we explore the tragic case of Cody Edmund Dixon, a man whose descent into madness led to catastrophic consequences. Cody was once known as a loving father and partner. However, in the fall of 2019, his mental state began to rapidly deteriorate. Friends and family noticed alarming changes in his behavior, marked by sudden outbursts and erratic actions. It was during this period that Cody claimed he started hearing voices he believed were divine. These voices convinced Cody that he was chosen for a higher purpose, one that required him to act in ways that are unthinkable to most. Tragically, under the grip of these delusions, Cody committed an unspeakable act against his own family. The details of this crime are heart-wrenching, as he took the lives of those closest to him, believing he was fulfilling a sacred duty commanded by the voices in his head. The aftermath of this horrifying event sparked a widespread discussion on the intersections of mental health and religious belief. Experts weighed in on how untreated mental illness can warp religious experiences, leading to dangerous fanaticism. The community was left grappling with questions about how such tragedies could be prevented and the importance of accessible mental health care. Cody Edmund Dixon's devastating actions remind us of the fragile line between faith and fanaticism. Today, we've journeyed through darkness at the intersection of extreme faith and violence. Each narrative we've explored serves as a grim tableau of how dangerously awry faith can skew. From Dina Schlosser's devastating misinterpretation of spiritual texts to Lafferty's prophetic delusions, these tales are bound by a common thread of tragic misguidance and fatal outcomes. Deanna Laney's story painfully illustrates how personal convictions can distort into deadly actions, while Travis and Sarah Mitchell's misplaced trust in divine intervention over medical care led to heartbreak. Lastly, Cody Edmund Dixon's descent into madness under the guise of divine command reminds us of the perilous edge where mental health and extreme beliefs collide. These accounts are not just stories of faith, they are stark reminders of the complex interplay between religion, psychology, and the law. They urge us to scrutinize and question the unchecked fervor that can transform sanctity into horror. As we reflect on these stories, let us strive to understand and prevent the extremes of faith, ensuring beliefs lead to hope, not harm.